Did he drive like you?
He did, at least to a degree. You know, I had the privilege of having a son that from the time he was a little bitty guy wanted to be with me and wanted to see what I was doing and wanted to know why. Mm-hmm. And as he got into this, you know, he would say, "Dad, how do I get better?" And in fact, he one day said to me, "Dad, I want to beat you."
So tell me how to do it.
and then he would do what I, you know, whatever I advised him to do. You know, he'd say, "Okay," or you know, he might say, "Well, I really didn't think that'd be the deal, or don't really like that idea, but I will try it."
So what would be some of the things you might tell him?
Probably caster settings. Yeah, you know, the idea of using bait to help the car instead of having to have all that, the spoiler on the back, things like that.
They might be your friend off the track, but they're not on the track.
Oh, right. That's kind of an important one, isn't it?
I really had to talk to him a lot about that because he really he was bad to trust the other guys too much, and then invariably somebody would put a move on him, you know, stick him in the wall or wreck him, or you know.
It's about to be a problem with being a nice guy.
Are you saying he was friendlier than you were?
He probably was. Just, you know, he had an incredible personality.
Yeah.
What was it like? Describe it.
Well, just he wanted to be friends with people, and you know, he wanted to share his success with people, and was quick to answer somebody, even if it was somebody that was going to be a serious competitor to him. He'd give him an honest answer.
He didn't want people to interrupt him when he was eating to get an autograph, but if they did, he was gracious about it.
Were you more aware of like where Davey was on the track when you guys were racing together than any other competitor?
No, not more. I was so pleased with how Davey had come along.
Yeah,
you know, and
it was really impressive.
Davey was so neat anyway.
Yeah,
you know, I just really enjoyed him, and I enjoyed how his career was progressing, and you know, so I at least was in tune with where he was. If I couldn't see him or whatever, you know, once in a while I'd ask my crew, you know, where is he, what's going on, whatever.
Had he caught up to you ability-wise on the track? If you two ran 15 races against each other, who was gonna win?
I'm reluctant to say that he'd caught me. He was definitely on his way.
I think he would have given a few of these guys today a run for their money.
Is there ever a scenario where you would have let Davey pass you for the win?
No.
And if he would have let you do it to him, you'd be mad at him, right?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That wasn't the deal. The deal was you do the best you can every time. You couldn't do something dirty or wrong or whatever, but no, don't give anything away to anybody.
And you wouldn't have, if that was you behind, if the situation was reversed, he tried to get you in 3 and 4, it looked like, and could. You would have tried to get him too, right? You wouldn't have.
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember your Talladega wreck where you were flipping around like that?
A little, but not much. I was going to go home. And she said, "No, Davey's running good. We're going to stay here and support him." So we got to go to Victory Lane with Dickie.
Davey won that race?
Davey.
I forgot that.
We were there. My wife and I were there, and we went over to the house afterwards. And you probably don't remember this, but all he had was his knuckles hair were scraped, just like you might scrape them on the blacktop. That's the only injury he had. And we had to laugh because he came in the house first thing he said was, he says, Mom, he says, I haven't had anything to eat. He says, can you make me something to eat? I'm dying hungry. And Judy said, yeah, I will. And then he turned to Bobby and said, Dad, I'm really sorry, but he says, I didn't get the garage swept out this week like you wanted me to. And Bobby kind of grinned. He says, well, for a guy to win Talladega, he says, I guess I'll let it slide. That always tickled me.
Yeah.
Father and son playing with Davey, and he's a real competitive pain.
Competitive pain.
They said that Davey said, I keep getting taught valuable lessons, but I got to keep them to myself, which is what you were talking about earlier.
The Alabama gang has conquered the Daytona 500. Bobby Allison, 3 Daytona 500s and a father-son finish. How does it feel, Bobby Allison, to race with your son?
Davey is a delight to be around for me. I'm very proud of him. I enjoy his company. I enjoy his effort, personal effort, in his racing activities.
So what do you think watching yourself say that?
I think that's pretty neat. It's, I'm pleased I got the chance to say that.
See Davey talking and stuff and moving and everything. I can do pictures okay, but it's real hard for me to see him talking and walking. But I figured this was special and I'll try to tough it out. I know this is about Bobby and Davey, but when you were talking about him winning the races for that weekend, Saturday's race that he won was prepared by our son Clifford, with his dad telling him what to do and not there enough to help him do it, and he did it within 2.5 months, and that car won the Saturday race.
How did you guys get through that awful 11 months?
It was tough. We went through a lot of different things, and of course we ended up separating for 4 years and everything. I don't really think they had that much to do with losing the 2 boys. It's just that he was set back and he was going through a different deal in his situation, and I was going through a different one. He wanted to be this far apart, and I wanted to be closer together. And we had a lot of other family situations come into play, that caused the separation. And it probably was for the best,
It was tough.
It was tough.
In a divorce situation and in our situation, how do you get people, how would I get somebody else, or how would he get somebody else to understand about Davey, to understand about Clifford, and those memories that are so great, great memories and everything. I mean, you have to, get past a lot of different things.
If it's not too personal a question, how did you guys reconnect?
Well, that had to do with family involvement, for one thing. Liz was Davey's widow. She was getting married, and we were both invited to the wedding, and I was living in North Carolina and he was living in Alabama. Our daughter Bonnie and his mom was still living. They were insistent that he needed to go to support those children, And I was there ahead of time. She had asked me to come ahead and be part of stuff and everything and everything. And so coming out of the church after the wedding, we ended up like being right next to each other, and I said something to him about looking nice, and he said, you look nice, but he didn't really look at me because he was still hostile. And
That's how it was.
and so we walk over from the church to where the reception is, and there was a table with some chairs around it, and his mom was sitting there, and a niece of ours was there, Michelle. And I said to my mother-in-law, I said, would you like me to go get you a plate? So she said, that would be nice. So I go get her a plate, and I come back, and then Michelle came back with her plate, and then he showed up there, and he had his plate at that time when he showed up there, and he wouldn't look at me. No way. Bobby, I said, it would be nice if we could just drop our differences and go to the funeral for Adam Petty. And for you know, Patty and Kyle and everything, you know, and he said, no, I got my car here and I got to go back to Alabama and all this, you know, and his mom said, well, you can make some other arrangements, and Michelle chimed in and she said, yeah, my cousins are here, somebody could take that car back for you. And I said, if you get someone to take the car back, you know, I can pick you up in the morning. You know, he was saying different things and I was saying different things, just idle chit-chat. The one thing he finally got up enough nerve to ask was, would I consider a discount in the alimony? And he was shocked because I said yes.
That was a key to the whole thing.
So it broke the ice a bit, I think, you know. Then when he got to the house and he saw that it was on the water and he could put his fishing boat in there, that was it. You know, that was it. So we kind of hung out together for about 15 days. We had some, you know, not knockdown, drag out, but we had some real tough, loud discussions and got a lot of things out of our system. It done pretty good, really, this second go round.